Greetings aspirants, welcome to Narayana IAS. This is Karthik Moni. I'm here for daily news analysis. In today's session, we are going to discuss 4 important mains related articles. 2 articles is from Indian Express and other 2 is from the Hindu newspaper. The first article is related to the deepfake challenge because of the artificial intelligence technology, and then second article is related to recent Supreme Court judgment in the Nestle case. And third article is related to the TB burden in India as well as in the global level. And finally, we are going to discuss about the extension of Garib Kalyan Yojana till 2028. Coming to the first article, we are going to discuss the problem of deepfakes created by the artificial intelligence technology. So this article is taken from Indian Express from the editorial column. So exam point of view, we can expect question in the prelims examination related to artificial intelligence and deepfakes, and also mains examination we can expect question related to right to privacy and regulation of AI. This topic can also be related in terms of intellectual property rights, the issues related to the intellectual property rights in the digital era. So moving to the context, recently a deepfake video of an actress was circulated in the internet, and this garnered the attention of the society. So that's why we need a AI regulation. We are looking for AI regulation. So that is very important because it is creating problems in the society. So for that, we have to know what is meant by deepfakes. So what are the technologies behind this creation of synthetic media? And then we have to know about the challenges behind these deepfakes. And finally, I'm going to discuss about the way forward. So this is the technology. So this is the definition. So deepfakes are synthetic media where a person likeness is superimposed onto an existing image or videograph by using a AI technology. What is the result? It results in highly deceptive and realistic looking image. So this is the definition. The problem is that the creation of realistic looking content. So that is the problem here. So technology wise, generative adversarial network is a core technology behind the creation of deepfakes, in which the normal videograph and the image of the actress. So here, 2 neural networks works against each other to create or to generate synthetic media. So this is the technology, generative adversarial network. Apart from that, we have to know about deep learning and auto encoding and voice synthesis and facial mapping, and then neural rendering. Look at the image. So this is the original face. So first it passed through the encoder. So in which the encoder will compress the image. So it will create the latent face. By compressing, the encoder will create the latent face. So here, this voice synthesis and facial mapping will be happening. So after this morphing happened, we'll send to decoder to create or to reconstruct the face. This is what we call it as neural rendering. So here we are using the technology of deep learning because deep learning algorithm are having the capacity to process huge data. So in the face, we will be having the huge nuanced details. In order to process those details, we need deep learning algorithm. So here we are using auto encoding for encoding and decoding. So here we are compressing the image to create the latent face, and then we are including the requisite morphing, that is voice synthesis and then facial morphing. We are doing it in the latent face. Why? Because so while compressing and we are doing the morphing or changing the voice and the video or the visuals, there is a reduced possibility of creating the noises. So that is the idea here. That's why we are compressing the image. Apart from that, once this synthesis and mapping is done, we are doing the neural rendering. Here, the technology will work on the texture and lighting to create realistic content. So this is the functioning of this technology. So moving to the next part, we have to know the challenges. So this deepfake technology created by artificial intelligence will create multi-dimensional challenges. Will create the problem of political challenges, legal challenges, policy-based challenges, technology-based challenges, ethical challenges, social challenges. N number of challenges are there, right? So we'll go one by one. So first, political challenges. So it affects the election integrity. For example, misrepresentation of the candidate's action will influence the voter's opinion. In this aspect, it will affect the election's integrity. Similarly, by misrepresenting the actions of the international leaders or statements from different countries, it will create problems. The possibility of diplomatic crisis will be there. Existing crisis can be escalated. So those comes under the international relations. And third thing is the problem of adaptability. The technology is growing day by day, but the existing government measures or government institution capacity is very low to have a quick response to such challenges. These comes under political challenge. So next we have to know about the legal challenges. Legal ambiguity, the existence of legal ambiguity. So existing legislation which we have in India is not adequate enough to tackle the problem of deepfakes. So that is the first problem. Second thing is the cross-border enforcement. The problem of, we have the jurisdictional problem. Why? Because the internet itself cross-border in nature. So that's why we are facing the problem, a jurisdictional problem across the border. So apart from that, we also have the problem of intellectual property disputes, because deepfake can mimic the intellectual property. So it will infringe the right of an individual and create complex disputes. So that is also there. And apart from this political and legal challenges, we also have policy-based challenges. So these are the policy-based challenges. So first thing is creating the regulatory balance. So we have to create a policy, so in which we have to maintain the balanced approach in punishing the misrepresentation on one side and also in promoting the creative efforts on the other side. So this maintaining this balance is challenging in nature. So policy aspect, this is the first dimension. Second thing is that problem in the enforcement. So here anonymity is the problem. So internet is having the problem of anonymity. So because of anonymous nature, the enforcement agencies face problem, the government will face problems in creating policies to tackle such anonymous nature of internet. So that is also there. And also the creation of uniform standard policy across the globe, because this policy alignment is very much important, because the internet is cross-border in nature. So in order to have a uniform standards, so larger consensus is nature. So again, it is challenging task for us. And apart from that, we have technology related challenges. So deepfake technology is growing day by day. So which means, so having a technology in decoding such deepfakes are challenging in nature. That's the first dimension. And second dimension is that the democratization of such technologies. So easy access of such deepfake technologies have the possibility of misuse in the society. That's a second dimension. And finally, we have to think from the perspective of ethical aspects and also social dimension. So ethical dimension, we have to think about the possibility of creating deepfakes without the consent of the individual. So without the consent. And also misrepresentation is also there. And finally, creating physically intimate images led to the ethical concerns. And apart from that, creation of such deepfake technology or images will lead to the creation of social distress. So these are the challenges which we have to know from the perspective of deepfake, right? So now I'm going to discuss about the way forward. So currently we have the IT Act, though we have the section 66D to tackle such deepfake problem, the existing provisions are inadequate in nature. So we need to amend such provisions to accommodate the problem, or in order to create effective mechanisms to combat such problems. So that's the first dimension. Second, we have the risk matrix for AI proposed by the regulatory body TROI, so which gives more clarity in decoding the in having the case-based classifications. So such framework has to be looped in to tackle the problem of defects. So that is the second idea. And apart from that, we need a comprehensive legislation. For example, we need Digital India Act to tackle the problem of such deepfakes, and also to regulate the artificial intelligence technology, to regulate the OTT platform. So for those aspects, we need a comprehensive legislation other than the existing IT Act. And also we can look for the, or we can create, or we can propose a global norms, such as we have Bletchley Declaration to have a common uniform standards to tackle the problem of deepfakes. So already G7 nations having AI pacts to tackle this problem. So having such global standards or global measures or methodologies to tackle this deepfake technology can be another option. And finally, we have to work on the R&D aspect, because technology is growing. So we have to work on the R&D aspect to decode such deepfake images, and also we have to cope up with the existing growing technology of artificial intelligence. So increased resource allocation for the research and development in this aspect is also very much important to tackle the problem of deepfake technology. Coming to the second article, we have the editorial article from the Hindu newspaper. So a verdict that hampers international law obligation. Exam point of view, it is relevant in terms of double taxation avoidance agreements, and also we can expect question related to most favored nation, and also mains point of view we can expect question related to how the recent judgment will affect the foreign investments in India. So that is also there. So syllabus, it comes under GS3 Indian economy. So here is the context. Recently, Supreme Court of India gave a judgment in the assessing officer circle versus Nestle case. So here, two things are important, that the opposition, the companies are telling that India is charging withholding tax of 10% to the countries of Swiss, France and Netherlands, and it is charging 5% withholding tax for Slovenia, Colombia and Lithuania. So here I have to highlight one thing. Both the nations are in OECD. So India is having a double taxation avoidance agreement with these nations. So here, in the light of this above context, we have to know about few concepts. So we have to know about double taxation avoidance agreement first, and then what is meant by withholding tax, and then we have to know about most favored nation. So consider the example of Nestle India, residing in India, and then Nestle in Switzerland. So the profit generated by Nestle India will be transferred to the home country. While doing this, there is a possibility that India as well as the Swiss, the home country, can tax the income. in order to avoid such double taxation, we'll be having an agreement. So this is what we call it as double tax avoidance agreement. So we'll be having the agreement between the countries. This is what we call it as double tax avoidance agreement. Now coming to the point. While transferring this amount, while transferring the income, India will withhold some amount. That is what we call it as withholding tax. So here, for Swiss, we are charging 10%, whereas the same company, Nestle in Slovenia, we are charging only 5%. So here comes the problem that it affects the most favored nation rule. So which means they have to give same status to all the companies or all the countries when it comes to the international agreements and arrangements. So this is the problem here. So here India is citing that if we are reducing the withholding tax to 5% to these companies, Swiss, France and Netherlands, India will be facing the revenue loss of 11,000 crore. So this is the problem. So Indian government doesn't want to change the rate of taxation. So the Nestle appeared the Supreme Court. So in this article, we have to know about what is meant by double taxation agreements, what is meant by withholding tax, and then we have to know about most favored nation status. So coming to the judgment aspect, Supreme Court favored the Indian government. So it doesn't want to reduce the claims in reducing the taxation to 5%. So demanded by the Nestle. So that was not agreed by the Supreme Court. So that is the first idea. The reason cited is that as per the section 91 of Income Tax Act, if there is no enabling provisions, then it is not possible to follow the international law. So this is what there in the Income Tax Act 1961. The Supreme Court cited this provision, section 91, to reject the demands of the Nestle. So non-extension of withholding tax to Swiss, France and Netherlands was rejected, and this leads to the violation of most favored nation clause. So that is the problem. So here Supreme Court is citing that even though Slovenia is a part of OECD, they are citing that the agreement between India and Slovenia signed before the Slovenia joining the OECD. So this is the reason cited by the Supreme Court to reject the demands. So now we have to know about the consents. Yes, so this stand, the Supreme Court stand, will affect the international obligation. So most favored nations status under the double taxation avoidance agreement has to be followed, because in the global arena, in the globalized world, the following the domestic legislation will create uncertainty. So in this uncertainty, like we have to create a uniform standards. That's why we are having the international obligation into the picture. So this certainty is needed for the companies to invest in the foreign nations. If this is affected, then India will lose the chances of foreign investments. So this is the problems. And also India can also experience the problem in the other nations while citing the relevance of international laws when it comes to the contraventions. If India is in the position to sue, then it will be a problem, because here India is not following that international obligation, which means we can't expect the same by the other nations as well. So that is also there. So when it comes to the conflicts between the international law and the domestic obligation, it is better to go with the international law, because it will create certainty in the economical sphere, and it leads to the thriving of foreign investments in India. Coming to the next, we have an article related to TB cases. So exam point of view, this is relevant because we can expect basic science related questions related to disease and its type and its symptoms and also the treatments. Policy point of view, we can expect questions related to the disease burden, and also we can expect questions related to the government's policies and also the challenges. So that's why we are discussing this article today. So here is the context. So this article is in news because recently the World Health Organization released its global TB report. In this report, it highlighted many things, and most specifically, it highlighted the impact, the influence of COVID-19 pandemic in detection, management, and prevalence of TB worldwide. So first, we have to know the report itself. So this report is published annually by World Health Organization. It provides data related to the global burden. So related to the number of new TB cases and related to the TB deaths, and also prevalence of drug-resistant TB, and also the prevalence of co-infection. And this data is available across the geography. It includes the details of 215 countries, including all 194 countries in United Nations. Apart from that, this report is also having information related to diagnosis, technologies related to diagnosis and successful completion of treatments, and also related to the new drugs, and also related to the strategies for the TB control. So these are the other areas they are concentrating. And most importantly, it also includes two things: targets. What are the aspirations we have to eliminate TB? That is also there. And apart from that, it also highlights the challenges. The problem of underreporting, the problem of geographical disparity in elimination the TB. Those things are also included in the report, right? So now we have to know the numbers in terms of global perspective. So in 2022, we have 10.6 million cases of TB. That is 4.5% increase from 2021. In terms of mortality, we have 1.6 million cases, and specifically with respect to the co-infection related mortality, we have 1,87,000 cases. So regional dimension, there is a problem that around 82% of TB related deaths are recorded in the regions of Africa and Southeast Asia, which means the treatment in this region in Africa and Southeast Asia is not that effective. So that is the problem. Coming to the new cases, addition of new cases, look at the number. We have 7.5 million cases that was recorded in 2022. But the number is high. When compared to 2019, 20 and 21, the number is high, 7.5 million. So here, this increase in number is because of COVID. The report highlighted that this current recent increase in the incidence of TB is because of COVID pandemic. Because during COVID times, there is a problem in having the access to health services. So that's why there is an incidence of TB, increase in the incidence of TB. And apart from that, now only we are coming out of the COVID pandemic. So that's why the assessment of new cases is also increasing. The survey is getting effective. That is also one reason. And apart from that, diagnosis is also increasing. And because of these three reasons, now we registered the increase in the number of new cases. That is 7.5 million in 2022. Coming to the global commitments. So we have commitments on three indicators. First one, the reduction in the absolute number of TB related deaths. TB related deaths. Second one related to the incidence of new cases, the rate of increase, new cases. And third one, the economical perspective, that how the households are facing the catastrophic costs, the cost due to TB. The economic cost involved are beared by the households. That is the third one. So in terms of TB related deaths, by 2020, we have to reduce 35% from the 2015 baseline, and by 2025, we have to reduce 75%. And when it comes to the TB related new cases, it has to be reduced to 20% by 2020 and to 50% by 2025. So it's huge. And moving to the third indicator, it has to be 0 by 2020. Now there is a question whether we are on the track or not. See, there is a problem. So this is related to the reduction of TB incidence rate. It is only 8.7% we achieved between 2015 to 2022, almost 7 years. In 7 years, we achieved only 8.7%, but we aspired for 50%. So there is a problem, right? So this we have to consider. Now getting into the details of India, we have 2.8 million cases by 2022, and it accounts 27% of global TB burden. And with respect to mortality, so we have totally 3,42,000 cases. That includes the mortality due to the TB and also because of co-infection of TB and HIV. So exclusively because of TB is 3,31,000. And because of co-infection, we have 11,000 now. So in total, it is 3,42,000. Look at the percentage. It is 36% of global deaths. It's huge, right? And apart from that, we are facing the problem of 1.1 lakh cases of multiple drug resistance TB. So absolute number is also high. Yes, 2.8 million cases. The percentage wise, globally we are sharing 27%. That is also there. And mortality wise also the absolute number is 3,42,000. The percentage number is also high, 36%. And finally, the additional burden of multiple drug resistance. But the good sign is, the TB incidence ratio with respect to 1,000, the ratio with respect to 1,000 population has decreased from 256 to 210. This is a good sign. But when it comes to overall absolute number, when it comes to the percentage, still India is facing the problem of TB, and we have to act accordingly to eliminate the TB on the given timeline. Now, policies. So, India, we have vision, we have preventive measures, we have treatment plans, we have technological measures. Yes, India is taking an all-round effort to eliminate TB. For example, vision, India wants to eliminate the TB by 2025. It was given in Pradhan Mantri TB Mukt Bharat Abhiyan. It is an integrated program. It is aspiring to eliminate TB by 2025. Apart from that, we have National TB Prevalence Survey to assess the problem of TB. So assess the number of TB patients. So we have the survey, separate survey for the nation. And apart from that, we have a scheme called Nikshay Mitra Initiative to provide extra diagnostic and nutritional and vocational support. And also, India is actively indulging in awareness campaign. We have TB Harega and Desh Jitega campaign to increase the awareness about the TB among the people, and it was done by the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, and also we are taking the technological related initiatives such as the clinical trial of 2 vaccines. So we want to ensure the prevention of TB. That's why we are concentrating more on vaccines. So that is also there. And also in terms of diagnosis, we have sputum sphere microscopy and also gene expert. So we are taking all-round effort to eliminate TB. But still, there are challenges. So globally as well as India-wise, we are facing the problem of rising drug resistance TB. So globally, there is an increase of 3% from 2020 to 2021. So with the absolute number of 450,000 new cases. So with respect to India, we are facing the problem of 1.1 lakh cases in 2022. So this is the problem. The problem of rising drug-resistant TB is a challenge for global perspective as well as India perspective. That is the first dimension. And second, there is a problem of underreport. In 10 countries, including India, accounts for 75% of gap between estimated TB cases and the reported diagnosis. So there is a huge gap. Underreporting is there. So which means treatment, the effective treatment is not possible. So treating the TB cases is not possible without diagnosis and reporting. So that is the second problem. And third, there is a treatment gap for drug-resistant TB. In 2021, 1 in 3 are receiving treatments for rifampicin-resistant TB. So that is also another problem. And most importantly, COVID pandemic. It affects the trajectory of elimination of TB. It affects the entire approach in elimination of TB. For example, diagnosis, in treatment, in follow-up care, entire segment was disrupted because of the COVID. So this is another challenge. So faced in terms of global terms as well as India also. So now we have to know about the way forward. What needs to be done? So these are the few strategies. So early diagnosis is very important. That too. So among high risk group, the early diagnosis is very important. And second thing is the prevention. The prevention is very important. That's why we have to promote the widespread TB vaccination. And third important thing is political will. Without political will, TB elimination is not possible. So we need solid political commitment for the allocation of extra resources for the TB elimination. And also we need the integrated approach. We need the collective approach of all the stakeholders such as civil society, private care providers, and also the public health systems. So we need a collective effort. And finally, we need to think about the creation of the conducive environment by eliminating the problem of poverty. Poverty elimination programs are very important because only the poverty is creating conducive eliminate for the incidence of new cases of TB. So that is also important. The social protection measures is also very much important to eliminate the TB. Coming to the last part of the session, we are going to discuss an article related to food security. So this article was taken from Indian Express from the page number 20. So this article is very important from the exam point of view. We can expect question related to the Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana, and also we can expect prelims related question related to National Food Security Act, and also we can expect question in the mains examination from the point of the politics of welfare scheme and also economic cost of food security and food subsidy, and finally most importantly we can expect question related to freebies as well. So this article is very important, and also we had a previous year question in 2021 regarding the Food Security Act's efficacy in eliminating the hunger and malnutrition. Moving to the context part, recently in the election rally of Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh, Prime Minister has announced the extension of central government's free food grain scheme under the National Food Security Act for the next 5 years, which means the government wants to extend Pradhan Mantri Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana till 2028. So this is the context. So exam point of view, we have to know about the schemes first, what is meant by Garib Kalyan Yojana and what is meant by National Food Security Act, and then we'll think about the evaluation point. So this scheme was implemented as a measure of COVID relief, and it was implemented in 2020. Under the scheme, the eligible beneficiary of National Food Security Act were provided with an additional entitlement. So additional, along with the existing entitlements under National Food Security Act, they'll be getting extra 5 kilograms of food grains for free of cost. So that is the benefits they'll be giving. So this scheme was initially announced for 3 months between April, that is April, May and June, but later it was extended for 7 times till 2023. Now the government want to continue till 2028. So this is the idea regarding the Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana scheme. So next we have National Food Security Act 2013. So this legislation is very important because it gives both physical access as well as economical access. So physical access because it is giving the rationed food grains through PDS. That is one thing. And second thing is that the food grains are available at cheap price. So which means this legislation ensures physical access as well as the economical access in providing the food security. And also the coverage is very high. Look at the number. It covers 75% of the rural population and also it covers 50% of the urban population. So making it one of the most extensive social welfare. Look at the numbers. It covers around 81.35 crore people, which constitute around 67.5% of the total population, which covers around 1/3 of the India's total population. In terms of identification of beneficiary, the state governments were given the responsibility, whereas the central government will give the criteria for the selection. Under the scheme, the beneficiary used to receive food grains of rice, wheat and coarse grain at a subsidized price of 3 rupees, 2 rupees and 1 rupee. And also, this scheme categorized the beneficiary into 2 categories. So, priority households on the one side and also households under Antodaya Anna Yojana. So, normal priority household used to receive 5 kilograms of food grains per member, whereas Antodaya Anna Yojana households, they'll receive 35 kg of food grains per month. So here, the government is treating differently the poorest of the poor. Apart from that, we also have an entitlement for the school children under midday meal scheme, and also we have a maternity entitlement for pregnant and lactating women. Coming to the evaluation point, so I want to discuss about the purpose and also I want to discuss from the vote bank's point of view, and we also have state schemes related to Garib Kalyan Yojana. So we want to think about the relevance of extending the schemes till 2028, that is also there. And also we have to think from the existing food security measures, and finally we have to think from the perspective of economic. First thing is purpose. We know that the scheme was introduced as the COVID relief measure. So now COVID pandemic was over. So the need for having or extending this scheme is still a question. Why? So during COVID times, there is a problem of lockdown. So economic opportunities of the individuals were affected, right? Physical access is also affected, and income level of the individuals also affected. So during the pandemic time, during the COVID lockdowns, the need for this extra entitlement is important, right? But this is not relevant today. So that is the first dimension. Second idea is that, so this scheme or the extension of this scheme is seen as a vote bank politics. So extension of Garib Kalyan Yojana in 2022 was seen as a vote bank measure during the Punjab, Uttar Pradesh, Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh assembly election, and even today this was seen as the measure to the vote bank for upcoming Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh election. So this is the second dimension. And third thing is that already states such as Tamil Nadu and Chhattisgarh is having similar schemes of giving or providing free food grains. So here relevance is missing. So that is the third dimension. And apart from that, already we have National Food Security Act. Under the act, we are ensuring physical access and also we are ensuring the economical access. Yes, the entitlements are cheap, so economical access is also there. So no need for extra free grains. So this is the fourth dimension. And finally and most importantly, it reflects on the exchequer of the government. So it's extra economical burden for the government. Look at the number. In 2019, so we had 1,84,220 crore allocation for the food sector. So it was a food subsidy allocation during 2019. And also look at the number. As a whole, in total of 7 phases, the government had spent around 3.91 lakh crore for implementing the Garib Kalyan Anna Yojana. The numbers are huge. So economical point of view, that is fifth dimension, this is also. When considering these parameters, so we have very less scope for seeing the merits in extending the free food grain scheme. Let's try some of the prelims practice question. The first we have the question related to tuberculosis. The first statement, it is a disease caused by virus. So it is wrong. So it is not by virus, it is caused by bacteria called mycobacterium. Second statement, India contributes significantly to global TB cases and accounts 27%. Yes, it's true. And third statement is related to the therapy. DOTS is a wide employed strategy for managing tuberculosis disease. Yes, it is also correct. And fourth statement, it spreads from person to person through air. So this is also correct. So first statement is wrong. All other 3 statements are correct. So option is C. Only 3 statements. Second question is related to the most favored nation. It is a principle, is a cornerstone of the multilateral trading system. So which of the following statement best describes the primary purpose of the most favored nation principle? To provide special treatment? No. To ensure that all WTO members receive same treatment? Yes, that's correct. So option is Bombay. Moving to the third question, it's related to National Food Security Act 2013. So the law guaranteed access to quality food at affordable price to 100% of the rural population. No, it is 75% of rural population and then 50% of urban population. So first statement is wrong. The subsidized prices of rice, wheat and nutri-cereals under NFSA can be changed by executive order. So here it is wrong because it can be changed by the amendments, only by the amendments. So second statement is also wrong. So third statement, Antodaya Anna Yojana is a part of National Food Security Act. Yes. So in terms of beneficiaries, we classified as primary holders and Antodaya Anna Yojana card holders. So in this way, like we are differentiating the poorest of the poor. So third statement is correct. So answer is statement A, one only. So that's the end of the session. So don't forget to subscribe the channel and also like, share and comment the video. Thank you.